Is this morning on the top story, the Manhattan DA waiting on whether or not he will move forward with an indictment against Donald Trump.
Yeah, DA Bragg has been in office for a little over a year and could become the first prosecutor to ever file charges against a former president. So joining us this morning to discuss the implications that this will have for both men is political analyst Basil Smilke. So good morning, Basil. Thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. So this isn't Alvin Bragg's first rodeo when it comes to going up against Donald Trump. When he worked for the Attorney General, he launched several lawsuits against Trump. However, when he first took office as the DA, he decided not to pursue charges against the former president. So why does it seem likely that he waited until now?
Well, it's just such a complicated path to get here. This all started with Michael Cohen, the former president's attorney and self-proclaimed fixer, being charged with federal campaign finance violations. Stemming from that, the charges suggested that this was all done under the direction of Donald Trump. Well, individual one, which we all assumed was Donald Trump. After several twists and turns, there were several cases that could have been launched. This case with related to the hush money, but also cases related to some of his business practices. Alvin Bragg decided not to pursue those cases around the business practices because, you know, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office just didn't have the resources compared to the State Attorney General's office to do it. So he genuinely picked the case that the DA's office could prosecute. We still don't know if they're going to be charges brought, but this was the sort of straightest line, if you will, toward some prosecution.
Help us understand, Basil, the severity of the charges that Mr. Trump is looking at, right? Are they felony or misdemeanor charges and the penalties that kind of follow?
Well, we still don't know exactly what's going to be charged here. There could be felony charges offered. They could be just misdemeanor charges, but we're actually in uncharted territory. That's what's so strange about it. So we don't know necessarily if the Trump folks are going to see an indictment coming and then try to cut a deal. So there is no jail time. We don't know if it's a misdemeanor charge, whether there would be jail time at all, even. Suggested felonies, obviously a very different sort of calculus there. So we're in uncharted territory. There are a lot of folks that would want to see Donald Trump do a perp walk. I'm not sure that they'll get that, but you know, there are a lot of people that want to see that.
So when does it get boosted up to a felony charge? When it's like falsifying records, that's just a misdemeanor. When does it get stepped up to a felony?
Well, I'm not an attorney. I want to be clear about that. So it's hard for me to say what that threshold actually is. But if we do see some movement from, you know, consideration of a misdemeanor to a felony, if he actually is being indicted for felony charges, it obviously a very, very serious crimes that are alleged to be committed, and we may see him go to trial. And that's something that you know, we've obviously never seen in the history of the United States before, but that's why I imagine his attorneys are frantically having discussions with the district attorney behind the scenes to see if there's some other way that they could come to some agreement on this, because nobody in the Trump camp, certainly Trump himself, doesn't want to see him being processed through a system. Or arraigned in court, you know. So they're trying very hard to not have that happen.
Yeah, and you know, I know your expertise is really in the political world. So help us understand what exactly is going on in a Republican's mind this morning, right? Whether or not there's going to be an indictment, whether or not we're going to see Donald Trump arrested, perp walked, mugshot, trial, that's all to be determined. But it seems that many folks in the Republican Party are saying that this is a political witch hunt and kind of trying to dethrone Alvin Bragg from the moment in the spotlight. So how are you seeing this all play out?
Yeah, well, you've seen Republicans go after Alvin Bragg already on this, in part because Trump sort of asked them to. You know, he's been sort of poking at Alvin Bragg, but he's been doing that for quite some time now. We saw when Lee Zeldin ran for governor. He campaigned very vigorously on this notion that if he became governor, he would find a way to unseat Alvin Bragg. So there was a lot of attention on him because he campaigned in many ways as this sort of criminal justice reformer. In and of itself, not a problem. But the reality is that he worked at a law firm early in his career, and one of the things he did was work on white-collar fraud cases. He was in the U.S. Attorney's Office. He was in the Attorney General's office when there was in the prior Attorney General's office before Tish James, working on Trump-related fraud cases. So he has a history with Donald Trump, and I'm sure Trump and the Republicans are trying to sort of capitalize on that, saying that it is a witch hunt. And sadly, if he gets indicted, a lot of attention will be on him as this sort of Democratic zealot. If he doesn't get indicted, my fear is that some people will feel that he simply wasn't up to the task of holding the president accountable. It's a tough line that he's going to have to walk, but I think he's prepared for it.
So the wait continues. Basil Smilke,
Indeed.
thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it. And we're going to check in with you just in case the DA decides to make an announcement later this morning.
I'll be here. Thank you.
Yep.